Check, 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 check. All right, I think I got everything figured out here. Hopefully, I just needed a reboot. We'll see what happens. Hope y'all doing all right. I got my coffee here. That's some good coffee there. All right, so this is take 2. Everything seems to be working. So just gonna jump right into it. I'm not sure how many people are gonna show up, but like I said, I want to do a quick tutorial on some glazing techniques, if you will, or just how-tos. So I've been getting these Warhammer 40K guys, and I really like the Death Guard, so that's kind of what I've been picking up here. And this little guy is, for the most part, done. And so if you look, see if I can bring him up just a little closer. So there's a fade that's happening right here, and that's what I'm gonna go over tonight. How I did these fades here, how I did the fade on the growth that's coming out of them, and one back here too. So, and I'm gonna end up doing this guy similar. So I think, you know, with everything, there should be a light source. I'm gonna do a fade on top up here, on the shoulder pads, and some leg area too, back here. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do. Hey, Michelle. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. So how I go about doing this is, one, I'm gonna pull back out here for a second. So it's all a mess here, and that's really why I chose to just go ahead and do some painting, because this stuff was up here for about 2 or 3 days already, and I had a tattoo today and I didn't get a chance to clean anything, so this is what we got tonight. But how I do this glazing stuff, I have here is just a standard Tupperware, shallow Tupperware container, and this is called a wet palette. So here is my dry palette, if you will, and this is a wet palette. Obviously, what makes this a wet palette is that there is a piece of paper towel under here, and then some wax paper on top. Maybe not wax, but just like a baking sheet or something like that. And when you put the paint on here, I can leave paint on here for maybe a week or 2 and it still is wet. It's still usable, versus on that dry palette, literally 20-30 minutes that paint is useless. So yeah, it's a wet palette, and I have some paints here. This is Death Guard green, and a little darker, some olive green. So I'll be using these two to get that fade on him. How are you, Michelle? And so what I'm going to do is grab my paintbrush, grab some of this Death Guard green, and just put not a lot, because what happens is I'll be thinning a lot of this out. And so you don't need a lot of paint at all. I think these paints will probably last, I know, at least 2-3 years if I keep them capped right and all that jazz. I think I got some internet issues happening tonight for whatever reason. Looks like it's stalled out again over there. But I'll just keep going like it's working. So, been keeping busy, mostly work. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're doing okay. So as you can see, I put just a little bit of green in here, and there's already some water that puddled up from the paper towel. So I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Let me zoom in some here. I'm going to grab just a little bit of water and some paint and make it really thin, like super thin. And what I'll do is I have paper towel, and I'll let it soak up some of that water. And then I'll take my thumb to see if I like what that color is going to look like. If I need more, then I'll just add more. Yeah, so I know you can't really see that, but there is some paint on my fingernail. And that's kind of what I want it to be transparent, because I'm gonna build up the layers for this. I gotta put on my glasses here, my spectacles. And so I am just going to start at the top here and pull the paint. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little more. So I'm gonna start at the top and just pull the paint this way. And what happens is when you pull the paint in a certain direction, the buildup of the paint is where the brush last stops. So it'll be really light up here, and it'll start getting darker down here. And to do this, it is going to take several layers of this, of me just doing this over and over and over. And that's how you get that fade. And also what you want to do is make sure when you're doing this is that to know how much paint and how much water is in the bristles, is that this should dry up really fast. Like there should be no puddles, there shouldn't be any lingering of paint up there within, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And so, let's see, what I'm doing here again is just seeing what the paint looks like and how much water is in the brush. So I'm gonna let some of that water out with my paper towel and just dab the back end of it. I'm gonna test it again. and there's some on there, so I'll just pull again. And eventually you will get a fade. I can already see it starting to happen now. Once I get a little bit more to hopefully where you all can see it, so see, it's wet, but it's literally drying right here in front of my face. So that's a good pull. And to get the fade is, so I started at the crest up here. Let me see, because it looks faded. I started at the crest because I want this to be that tan color, that the whole base is that, what color is that? Like a green ochre is what it says. I want that color to be very hard up top. And so I'll start just a little below it. But with each of these darker green passes that I'm doing, I'll start just a little bit lower and a little bit lower and a little bit lower until I'm way down here. And then I'll start in with a darker green, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go back over here to my wet palette, get some paint on a brush, take some water out, see what it looks like on my finger. That'll work. And so now I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna start just a little lower from where I started up top here. And again, just pull down. Because with each passing, you're adding more pigment or color to it. If I keep starting up here, it'll just be pretty much the same color all over without that fade, and I want a fade on here, so. And so you can see a little bit, let me see. You can see a little bit of the fade happening like right in here. And so I'll just keep doing that over and over and over. And this is called glazing. And so I'll start a little further down. It's kind of wet, so I need to take some water out of there. And once I start building up to where I'm starting to see a good fade, I'll just start another fade on another part of the armor. So I want this to have a cool fade too. So I'll just start kind of up here and just start pulling stuff down.
Global Citizen and YouTube present Facts Live. Watch now, only on YouTube.
On average, how long does it take you to get the effect you want, or does it? It usually takes, because one, they're so small, and I need to like look through the glasses and all that stuff, and then I'll do this section. Like I said, I'll start on this section and then that section. So it can take probably a few hours, to be honest. Again, it's just going back over and over and over. And I guess I should have this in the camera so y'all can see what's happening. And I'm not sure what color I want that to be yet, so I'm not even gonna mess with that. So I am having some serious internet issues for whatever reason. Yeah, something's happening with the internet, so I'm not sure. If y'all still want to hang out, that's cool. If not, I get it. It's always something though. That's every Tuesday. Every time I get ready to do something, the internet wants to act all stupid. Put my peepers back on. And then I'm gonna just bring this in just a little more. And just keep building and building, building and building. And as you can see, this one is starting to build up too. I started this one probably like 3 passes or 4 passes after I'd done this one. So now the shoulder pads are starting to have a little fade on them as well. What's wild is that I hadn't even played the game yet. A friend of mine got me kind of hooked on the models themselves, and for them to be this small, they're so detailed. I was kind of taken aback from it. Just because I like detail and stuff, so and then I can start fading out this way too, because he has a crack in his armor. I want a little bit of darkness to be right in this area, so I'll just start fading out this way too, and I'll let that paint build up right at the edge there. So these guys are called Death Guard, and they're some of the nastiest dudes in the game. So looking at this dude, right, there's like all type of growth that's coming out his armor. Some of them got horns and stuff that are growing out of them. Pretty nasty dudes. And shit, it doesn't seem to be interrupting the feed. Yeah, just everything here freezes up for a hot second, and then it comes back on. So, I mean, I'll keep painting, keep talking, I guess. I think mainly for this process is that you don't want to rush it. And I have a tendency wanting to rush it. So I try and slow myself down. I try and think about, next spots where I want the fading to happen, all that stuff.
Listen to music personalized to you. YouTube Music Premium. Start a 1-month free trial.
I think I want a little fade up here too. And so the paintbrush it's still wet. I usually try and go until it's almost dried out, and then I'll load it back up. So you can see the fade, right? I started with just the plain brown tan looking color, and now if I spin him around so I get the shine, there's the fade happening. See right there, it's light and it goes to the dark, and the same on that side. And you can start seeing some of it starting to happen with the shoulder pads. And so yeah, I'll keep doing that. And then when I want, because I want it to be a little darker, I'll just add this other color, some olive green, which really makes it look nasty. Because these guys have like all type of plagues and flies and all type of stuff that they shoot out to the enemy, their enemies, I guess. They're just pretty disgusting, that's all. And I want to portray the disgustingness. And I'll bring some of that back here. Get this side. So eventually what'll happen is if I keep using this same color, it should end up like that color, the opaqueness of it. Now I'm not sure how many times I gotta do that to make that color be like the real green without it being watered. But again, I'm gonna mix some of that, the darker green in there. I think it's pretty cool because they actually have painting contests for these things too. I don't think I'd ever want to do that, but it's a thing. So I think there's a little bit left. I can jump back on this side here. That wasn't much. And after a while, like, you kind of start feeling how much paint should be on a brush. It's like using a force or something. And so I'll even start in these little crevices and on top up there too. Now under here, under this shoulder pad, I can probably just use the actual color. I don't need to water it down because I want some light to hit right here. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I like how that fade is turning out. From the top view, it shows that lighter center. Yeah, I really like what's happening here. Yep, right there. And then when I hit it with that darker color, it'll definitely pop then. So this is kind of like a an easy transition to help transition from this lighter green to that darker green. So it's not so harsh. And then you can see back here where it's starting to build up a little bit. And with these guys, I like them because, one, with the paint job, there's a little bit of freedom. You can do some streaking and rusting, some cool mistakes that you probably couldn't get away with some of the other little figures, models, or whatever. Because those almost need to be spot on or perfect or whatever. But with these dudes, because they're nasty and they look like they came from the sewer, I can get away with a few mistakes here and there. Some streaking, all that stuff. And so now, since I am going around and doing a few different places, the paint that I'm putting on there is drying. So now I can jump right back over here if I want to, as long as there's still paint on the brush, and then just bounce around. And now up here is dry again. So I am going to, I think I like the way that looks on top. And so now I'm going to do some of that dark green real quick. I'm gonna rinse my brush out a little bit. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. I guess I don't have to tell you everything I'm doing. I think in my old age, I've become a narrative of everything that I'm doing. And it's literally, I use 2 drops of that. And just 2 little drops. Again, that's gonna be watered down so much, is I don't need to, use much of the paint at all. So I'm gonna pull some out, get some water going. I'm gonna use my finger on a test real quick. Yeah, looks good. Take just a little water out of there. And so I'm gonna see what this looks like here in the back. And you can see that really, just that one little pass makes it look really dark from the other side. And so I'm starting way down here at, not at the very bottom, but close enough. Because I really don't want to interrupt that fade that's happening up there. And I'll bounce around and do this shoulder. I can come up a little bit, because I don't mind this being a little more darker than like the top. And I'll bounce around to this side. I'll start some like right in here, some right in there. I'm gonna come back up here to the top and pull some right here at the tip. And so now I'm really getting a good fade on this dude. Go back in, get some more paint, some more water, a little more paint, pull it out. And so with this, because it's a darker paint, I definitely need to be careful of how much paint is actually in the brush. At this point, I wouldn't mind if it was more water than paint, just so I don't accidentally add too much paint and lose the fade. And then even with, by me doing this fading and stuff, again, from the stuff that I've seen on YouTube and watching other different guys paint, and girls, there's some girls out there that are really dope. Not that girls can't be dope, but they're out there and they're just really good. Like, oof. Anyway. So when this dude is all faded, so I'm going to take a break here and take these glasses off. What happens is I'll just use this. So right, I'll do the fade here. I'll do some fades the same way on his face. I'll do some fades maybe on this chainmail. I'm not sure. The skulls, some of the gun, I'll do fade on that. So this is just, this color in the green is just for all this armor. And so now the growth needs different color fades and all that. But when all that's done, there's it's called Nun oil or something like that. And it's a shade, and it's a little thinner than just regular paint. And then I'll just brush over the whole thing, and it'll tie everything in together. So that's kind of what I did with this dude. And so here, you can still see the fade happening, but it's a lot more toned down than it is on this dude, right? Because that Nuln oil is, I think it's black, but it's some type of oil. They have brown oils, blue oils, and that just helps ties everything in together. So again, you can make those certain mistakes and get away with it because now you're going to cover the whole thing. Like I literally just dip my brush in and just brush over this whole thing with that oil. And then I'll get into like the very little crevices here, all the nooks and crannies. So a lot of those mistakes will be covered and you really won't see any of them. Oh shit, I've been old for a while then. Yeah, me and you both, Michelle. I've been old for a while too, shit. But yeah, that's the process. It takes, as you asked earlier, how long does it take? So yes, just for his armor, that's gonna take me like 3 or 4 hours. And so I'll just be up one night or a bunch of nights just painting like that. Then I'll start another part. So like everything, like I was saying, needs a fade. For the most part, right? I mean, at some point, they're just little dudes on a tabletop and they could die and you just take them off and move them. So I think it's just the artist in me that wants everything to look cool. So I think each of these characters may take like 3 hours. Let's say 3.5 hours. And so if we done 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 Terminators in a group. 7 times 3 is 21. That's 21 hours that I've spent on just these little characters. So needless to say, I don't sleep much. I'm just always doing something. So I'd like to play this game at some point when Rona is over with. I don't know if David plays or if he's ever played. Because I don't think we're not still in a pandemic, but I think we're almost to where people are at the, hey, I'm taking a shot or I'm not taking a shot, right? And I don't want to diss anyone who hasn't taken it or who has taken it. I've taken it. And I just hope everyone's safe, whatever you do. But I think we're at plateaued of, like I said, who's going to take it, who ain't going to take it. I mean, there's going to be stragglers on both ends, but I'm just rambling about that because I want to play the game. So I want this to be over with so I can find some people to play with. If David has played, I'd like to play with him at some point so he could teach me some stuff, but because I went to, I guess they got a Warhammer store, what is it called? Games Workshop. And they're still in like pandemic mode to where they only let so many people in the store and all that stuff. So, and I get it, you know. So I just need to find somewhere to play and somebody to play with. The guy that got me started and hooked on this stuff, he's in North Carolina, so I can't play with him. Not yet anyway. We'll have to set a date or something. And so he has like the side here. I'm not sure how I want to do that just yet, so that's why I hadn't messed with it. And I think for me, I just keep going until I'm satisfied to what, you know, I'm happy with. So there's no real stopping point, if you will. It's just me stopping and be like, all right, I'm done with this part. And so I think I'm almost done with at least the hood of this dude's armor. And I think I'm gonna go back into the lighter green and pull some of that out, get some on my brush, check my finger. I think that's cool. And so I'll just pull all this down from up here. And at this point, it still doesn't have to be perfect. I can clean, so you can see like right here at the edge. Maybe you can't, but at the edge of that, there's some dark stuff happening. And I'm okay with that. I can just take this color and cover that up. And so I can come over here, since there's some that light green on there, I can just start pulling stuff down here. I want this piece of armor to come down like that. And so to fade, the dark will be down here. It'll be down in here. I'll have it all in here. So I want the edge to stay that color. And then I'll definitely pull all of that down here. And then even with, and I want to put a highlight on these bands, right? So I'll leave that alone, and then I'll just pull this over here, and then I'll pull it over here. And the same with this, and the same with that. And so yes, it may not look like nothing's happening, but again, I'll do probably like, I don't know, 15 more coats because I was trying to count up here how many things I've done. So I'm thinking 15-ish, and it'll start looking like that. And then I'll hit it with the darker one and clean up wherever I need to. So I got my glasses on, turn these off. Yeah, because I remember David was printing miniatures at one point. I think I seen them in y'all window. So I didn't know if he was printing them for like 40K or was he printing them for some D&D stuff. I don't know. But yeah, you can ask him, or I could text him too and see. But yeah, that's my process for glazing, y'all. So I think that's it. I don't want to sit here and bore you all night and watch paint dry. I just really want to go over that process real quick. So yeah, that's it. I guess I will see y'all next week. Yeah, D&D stuff probably. Okay, cool. But yeah, I will see y'all next week. I don't have any trains running because I was cleaning my track. My track was extremely dirty. I'm not sure how my trains was running before I cleaned them. I mean, that stuff, it was black. So hopefully with the clean track, I need to clean the train now. I need to clean the wheels and all that stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. And I should be drawing something next week. I'm not sure what, but I'll figure something out. So thank you for hanging out. And I will see y'all next week. Yeah, peace out.